Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item is actually County Administrative Report 3-1, and that's a discussion of community feral cats, and that's actually with Commissioner Robinson, which I believe is out of the chambers right now, so we may have to wait just a minute.
Commissioners, this morning I sent you a video produced by Alley Cat Allies, and the title of the video is Save the Birds. Alley Cats is a huge national supporter of Trap Neuter Return, TNR. Cats and humans have lived together for 10,000 years. There are people who blame cats for the decrease in bird population. However, the three reasons for a decrease in bird population is habit destruction, habit destruction, habit destruction. Were you aware that the United States lost 80,000 acres of coastal wetlands between 2004 and 2008? That's 7 football fields every hour. Habitat loss currently impacts 93% of threatened birds. According to the National Wildlife Federation, climate change is the most serious threat this century faces with migrating birds. 100 million birds die yearly from collisions with windows. 400, should I just finish this?
Please finish, Mrs. Krakowski.
440,000. What did you say, sit down?
No, ma'am, I said please finish. I apologize.
No, wait, what did you say?
My voice is not great. Please finish. Please,
okay, thank you. 440,000 birds die yearly from wind turbines. 70 million birds die yearly from pesticides. 380 million birds die yearly being hit by cars. What do all these threats have in common? Humans, not cats. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Krakowski. Janet Lewis, please. And if you would please state your name and your address, Mrs. Lewis.
My name is Janet Lewis, and I live at 7709 Sabre Drive in Ensley.
Thank you.
And I'm also a retired nurse in the community. And I'm here to discuss an email sent out to a lot of the people here. It's from an animal lover, but apparently she doesn't like feral cats. And she wanted to discourage Commissioner Robinson from approving a TNR program in Escambia County. And the email didn't want you to influence anyone else on the commission. The reason she didn't want the TNR program, she said, because feral cats carry diseases. Well, how many people do you know have died of rabies from being bitten by a feral cat? And how many people have suffered from toxoplasmosis from getting it from a cat? I don't think so. And she said feral cats also eat birds. Over the years, I've released 4 or 5 feral cats in my yard. And of course, now they're not feral. And over the last 5 years, I found 1 bird feather in my yard. Never saw a carcass or anything else. I have a big bird feeder in my yard that I have to fill every 2-3 days because I have birds from all over the neighborhood coming to my yard to eat. My cats do not eat the birds. I've acquired this statement from the Center for Disease and Prevention, CDC. I think they're based in Atlanta. They said that people are not likely to get sick from touching or owning a cat because free-roaming cats tend to avoid human contact. The likelihood of getting a disease from a cat is remote. Over the last, I think it was since 1960, only 2 cases of rabies were recorded from being bitten by a cat. Anyway, to me, some of the solutions are you just ignore all the 50,000 feral cats in the community. Just ignore them and let them keep reproducing, and pretty soon we'll have 100,000 cats. Another solution is just go ahead and kill them all. That doesn't work either. The third solution is go ahead and establish a TNR program.
Thank you, Mrs. Lewis.
Thank you.
Jan Popra, please. I have a feeling that was not the correct enunciation.
You know what? That's closer than most people get, so I'm happy with it. So, but good evening, everybody. Let me address this issue. Around 1962, many people in America thought that the bird population in the country was dropping dramatically. I do have a little bit of laryngitis, so do excuse the voice. Rachel Carson wrote a very famous book at that time called Silent Spring, and which drew attention to the situation and really pointed to DDT as a cause of the decline. It turned out that the use of widespread use of DDT was correct, and it was causing a close to a halfway extinction of the bird population in the country. But now, and that was fixed, but now 52 years later, with an annual introduction of thousands of untested chemicals into the environment by industrials and environmental use or business use, why, after 52 years of thousands of new chemicals and new toxins, are some people pointing the finger at cats as a cause of devastation of the bird community? Not to mention that in 1962, the human population of America was a little over 100 million. Today, it stands well over 300 million, and with a consequent loss of enormous amounts of habitat. I think it's just lazy and sloppy thinking to single out cats as a significant cause of a decline in the bird population. On a scale of negative impact of 1 to 10 on birds, I would put cats very much towards the end, and other items such as the 2 I just talked about way up top. Toxins, environmental damage, loss of habitat, increase in population. And it's just not going to make the news that cats eat birds. They will do that. So finally, why can't the folks that are interested in birds just get positive, start sheltered breeding projects, increase the population numbers, and look at all these other challenges to the bird population? So what I want to ask the commission, let's proceed with the responsible and humane treatment of the cats, as has been discussed for some time, and as has been specified by the folks from Jacksonville. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Popra. Mrs. Berg, Sharon Berg, please.
Hi, Sharon Berg, Cantonment, Florida. One of the things everybody can agree on regarding Trap Neuter Return or community cats, everybody can agree that we don't want as many feral cats, community cats, as there are now. We would all like to reduce the numbers. The bird-loving population would. I love birds too. And also just the cat-friendly people. There are some facts that can't be ignored about feral cats and community cats. These cats are victims of human negligence. We wouldn't have feral cats, or we wouldn't even have an animal shelter or animal control if people were responsible pet owners. That's not going to change. We hope it gets better, but there will always be irresponsible pet owners. There will always be people that will feed stray animals. You can try to ban feeding, but people are always going to be sympathetic to an animal in need. So you're not going to be able to stop the feeding. Trap and kill has been in place for decades, and it doesn't work. We still have a cat population problem. They've gotten very good at reproducing. And another fact, the county cannot afford to exterminate 50,000 cats. That's the estimated feral community cat population in our county alone. 4,260 cats were killed at the Escambia County shelter in 2013. That cost the county $639,000. That's based on the $150 that TZI quoted in their report as per animal from intake to disposal. TNR does work. It's the humane way to reduce the population. There is a large group of people that would be willing to TNR and put more effort into it if there was money available. If the county gets behind it, we can get grants, and it's something that we can fix. And that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Berg. Thank you, Sharon. So good to see you again. Deanne Alison. Deanne? Okay. Does he have a form filled out?
He did.
He's already spoke.
He has, so he would have another 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's been a while. It's good to see you.
No, I do want to address another item. I knew I was going to run over on
Oh,
that
absolutely. Go right ahead. You have 2
initially.
minutes.
You know, there is, I want to address the health matters, a bit of a slander that cats are dangerous, a public health menace, and so forth. There's so much ignorance and prejudice against cats that I want to address this matter now. I do want to get the record straight as to what represents a health hazard and what doesn't. I'll give you a hint. The hazard is not from the cats. Birds have an unusually high body temperature, which makes them a natural incubator for germs. They carry, among just a few things, birds, a number of diseases harmful to man. Equine encephalitis, Japanese encephalitis. If you don't know what encephalitis is, it's an infection of the brainstem, spinal column, can be quite serious. Typhoid and West Nile virus. And in particular, West Nile virus is extremely common, has a high rate, is growing, and it can be extremely dangerous. The most common, the most prevalent host for the West Nile virus in America is the robin. The color of birds and their flash is very attractive to almost all of us, but they can be best enjoyed safely from a distance. You don't want to be exposed to dander, feathers, fecal matter, and so on, because it all can harbor these germs. After many years of working with cats for myself and people in our community, the worst that we have personally experienced is a little extra hair, cat hair in our pants. And I'm not bringing this up as an amateur or somebody that reads a great deal. I have well over a decade's experience in public health. I hold a master in public health from the University of Minnesota. I ran a number of health projects for the state of Minnesota, and I'm making these points as a matter of knowledge, training, and experience. That should do it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I don't think we have any more speakers from Mr. Robinson. Go right ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I brought this up, and I think as we discussed this morning, the reason we brought it up is we thought we were going to have to look at whether we wanted to move forward with a change to the ordinance, although that appears the state's attorney said they would not pursue Escambia County under the abandonment issue, which is what we had a problem. There are currently, as you heard, probably 17 counties in the state of Florida that are pursuing this issue. We met a month ago and we talked, and I think you just heard some of the figures. We went from 4 years ago, we went from 12,000 euthanizations a year to now about 6,000. Of that 6,000, 4,200 are cats. As you can see, if we're truly going to become a no-kill shelter, when I look at what Jacksonville did and what other things, I went to the community meeting, and the one thing they talked about there was this feral freedom. And if we're going to be in that process, this is the only way we can get to be a no-kill shelter, is by going this direction. Otherwise, we will kill these cats, I think, as Ms. Berg said, and they will reproduce. And as long as there's a food source, they will reproduce, and they will continue to do so. And we can't. All we can do is try to keep killing them. We've been killing 5,000-6,000 cats a year, and it's causing taxpayer dollars, and we're not getting the results of what we're doing. So again, I think we need to be moving in this direction. The reason I brought this on here has totally been solved because we do have that I would ask tonight, I don't think there's any option, because we don't, unless the county attorney can say something different, but I don't think there's an issue with us needing to change our ordinance. We just need to maybe schedule this for a public forum to see if we want to pursue the other discussions. Plus, I do wish to share with you a text that I received from my wife, who is a wonderful woman of Escambia County. Says, "Don't bother coming home if you vote the wrong way on the cats." So again, I simply want to be moving forward if this is something we want to do. Although I don't know that we need to take any direct action today. The action I was wanting us to look at was an ordinance change. And I don't know if County Attorney, if you want to speak to that.
My biggest concern was whether or not we had an abandonment issue, which clearly we are not going to have. So I think I'm happy, although we do need to establish some kind of parameters if we're going to have, they don't necessarily need to be in an ordinance, but we do need to have some sort of parameters and criteria for identifying colonies and that sort of thing.
I would like us to maybe take this item up that Target Zero has brought forward to us. If we're truly committed to being a no-kill, and we signed off on that a month ago, I think we're going to have to do something with cats. So we don't need to take any action tonight on the abandonment because that's been solved. But I would like to see us move this forward, at least to a committee of the whole.
Okay, sounds good.